As the war in Ukraine rages on, world leaders are working tirelessly to find a peaceful resolution to this devastating conflict. French President Emmanuel Macron, a key figure in the diplomatic efforts, recently met with former U.S. President Donald Trump to discuss a potential ceasefire and a path towards lasting peace. The meeting, held on February 25, 2025, signaled a renewed sense of urgency in finding a solution to the crisis. While the details of the private meeting remain confidential, sources close to Macron suggest that the two leaders engaged in a frank and productive discussion about the way forward in Ukraine. Macron, known for his proactive approach to international relations, reportedly outlined his vision for a ceasefire and a comprehensive peace plan. Trump, who has previously expressed a willingness to engage with Russia, is said to have listened attentively to Macron's proposals. The meeting between Macron and Trump underscores the importance of international cooperation in addressing global challenges. The conflict in Ukraine, with its far-reaching consequences, demands a united front from the international community. By engaging in dialogue and exploring potential solutions, world leaders can work together to bring an end to the suffering and instability caused by this war. The meeting between Macron and Trump has injected a renewed sense of hope into the search for peace in Ukraine. While significant challenges remain, the willingness of these two influential figures to engage in dialogue demonstrates a shared commitment to finding a diplomatic solution. As the world watches with bated breath, the outcome of their discussions could have profound implications for the future of Ukraine and the wider international order. President Macron's proposed endgame sequence for the Ukraine war is a multi-stage process that aims to address the complex political and security concerns of all parties involved. This intricate plan begins with direct negotiations between the United States and Russia, two global powers with significant influence over the course of the conflict. This initial dialogue is crucial for establishing a framework for broader discussions and finding common ground on key issues. Following the US-Russia negotiations, Macron envisions a separate round of talks between the United States and Ukraine. These discussions would focus on addressing Ukraine's specific security concerns and ensuring that any peace agreement adequately protects their sovereignty and territorial integrity. This step is essential for building trust and ensuring that Ukraine feels secure enough to agree to a lasting ceasefire. The next stage in Macron's plan involves the implementation of a comprehensive truce on land, air, and sea. This ceasefire would require all parties to cease hostilities and respect Ukraine's existing infrastructure. This step is crucial for creating a stable environment for further negotiations and allowing humanitarian aid to reach those in need. Finally, Macron proposes a series of negotiations focused on securing long-term peace and stability in the region. These talks would address critical issues such as security guarantees for Ukraine, the resolution of territorial disputes, and the establishment of a framework for economic cooperation. Additionally, Macron has suggested a potential U.S. deal on rare earth minerals with Ukraine, which could provide much-needed economic support for the war-torn nation. Macron's proposed endgame sequence is a complex and ambitious plan that requires careful consideration and commitment from all parties involved. However, it represents a potential roadmap to peace in Ukraine, offering a glimmer of hope for a brighter future for the war-torn nation. As part of his comprehensive peace plan, President Macron has outlined several post-ceasefire security options designed to ensure the long-term stability of Ukraine and deter further Russian aggression. These options range from bolstering Ukraine's own military capabilities to the deployment of international peacekeeping forces. One option under consideration is to significantly enhance Ukraine's military capacity, providing them with the necessary resources and training to defend their territory independently. This approach would involve substantial investment from Western allies in terms of military hardware, intelligence sharing, and joint exercises. The goal would be to create a Ukrainian military that is strong enough to deter any future attempts at Russian intervention. Another option involves the deployment of a joint Franco-British troop presence in Ukraine, operating under the auspices of NATO or a similar international mandate. These troops would not be deployed on the front lines but would serve as a deterrent force and a symbol of Western commitment to Ukraine's security. This option would require significant U.S. backing, including a guarantee to support Europe militarily should Russia violate the peace agreement and attack these forces. Central to both of these post-ceasefire security options is the concept of European cost sharing. Macron has emphasized the willingness of European nations to contribute financially and militarily to securing a lasting peace in Ukraine. Many European leaders have expressed their readiness to participate in the proposed defense structure, recognizing that a secure and stable Ukraine is in their own best interests. However, Macron has also stressed the need for US solidarity and guarantees of support in the event of Russian aggression. The European Union, while increasingly capable militarily, still relies heavily on the United States for its security umbrella. For any post-ceasefire security arrangement to be credible and effective, it must have the full backing and commitment of the United States. As we strive for a peaceful resolution to the conflict, it's crucial to acknowledge the profound impact the war has had on Ukraine's people, its economy, and its social fabric. The 3-year-long conflict has resulted in the tragic loss of thousands of Ukrainian lives, displaced over 6 million people, and caused catastrophic damage to infrastructure and the economy. Rebuilding Ukraine after the war will require a monumental effort, with an estimated cost of $524 billion, according to recent estimates. Beyond the staggering financial burden, the war has left deep scars on Ukrainian society. The trauma of displacement, the loss of loved ones, and the constant fear of violence have taken a heavy toll on the mental and emotional well-being of millions. Addressing these invisible wounds will be as crucial as rebuilding physical infrastructure. The international community has a moral obligation to support Ukraine in its recovery and reconstruction. This support should go beyond financial aid and encompass a multifaceted approach that includes humanitarian assistance, economic investments, and diplomatic efforts to foster reconciliation and lasting peace. We must remember that achieving peace in Ukraine is not merely about ending the violence, but also about creating the conditions for a just and sustainable future for all Ukrainians. This requires a long-term commitment from the international community to support Ukraine's recovery, both physically and emotionally. Let us all stand in solidarity with Ukraine and urge our leaders to actively pursue President Macron's proposal for peace. The time for action is now. Let us work together to build a future where peace and prosperity prevail in Ukraine and beyond.